Tell the people what you did.
I didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything.
I wrote it.
Why is there an engine on my workbench?
It needs some love and affection.
I just finished an engine. Took me 4 months. It's in that. That runs, by the way. But now this. Why?
Because it has a lot of hours on it, pretty much.
So here's the deal. She's getting hard to start. Unbearable. Almost to tears trying to start this thing. So we said this. Let's rebuild the carburetor because it was leaking. That didn't work. So then I said this. Let's run a compression test. And we did. And it was low. What was it?
I think it was 70.
70 PSI. By the way, this is an 08 YZ250F. 70 PSI, it ain't gonna cut it. So I said, well, we got one shot. Let's check the valve lash. So we checked the valve lash, and one of the intake valves was zero clearance, which means it's not closing, which means it's losing compression. So we adjusted the valves. I still have it on the board here. Where did we go? We went from, this is our center intake valve. We went from a 165 shim down to a 150. That's a huge jump. But now the valve's closing and our compression came up to, what was it, 120?
I think so.
120. It started right up. Well, I got it to start right up. This guy doesn't wear real shoes, so he couldn't start it. But we got a trip coming up here about 3 weeks. If we try and continue running it in this condition on that particular trip, it's gonna die. So we're gonna revive it before it goes catastrophic. So we're gonna tear it down and we'll show you. I already know what's wrong. The intake valve is receded itself into the cylinder head. It's pretty common for these 3-valve Yamaha engines, actually any of the high compression 4-strokes. So we'll tear it down, and I can guarantee you that that center intake valve on this thing is probably about the thickness of a razor blade right now. It won't take much more for it to finish itself off. But we're going to tear it down before it does. So I'm not going to do this job. He's going to do this job, and I'm going to laugh and point fingers. What are you going to do first? How about the Kickstarter? Let's get the Kickstarter off. Get that out of the way.
It's like one of these ones.
Yep, it's one of those ones. Do you need a hand?
Yeah, you probably have to hold that. Is it coming off?
It's unscrewing.
I think so.
It's probably got Loctite so it doesn't fall off. Alright, you know what? The people are bored. We'll check back. Alright, Kickstarter's off. Finally. That took about an hour. Pull the valve cover off. You got 2 Allen head bolts right here. We're not going to worry about timing this thing, setting it at top dead center to take it apart, because it doesn't matter. We're just taking it apart. We're only going to do the top end. Once we get the top end off, we'll check the bottom end, see how that's looking. We'll decide from there whether or not we go deeper. I hope we don't have to go deeper.
That would be ideal.
Ideal. But we bought this used, what, almost 2 years ago?
Yep.
And we have no idea what it's been through. Or how many hours. Good job. Whoa.
No, we're putting
Have you done this before?
I'm taking this off for you. No, yeah, 8mm.
2 cams, 5 valves, no waiting. Yep, so pull the bolt right here on the end of the cam chain tensioner. Get that out of there, and then we'll put some slack in the cam chain. Then you can pull the cams. Oh, wow.
Didn't hit my hand.
Did that hurt?
No. Do I need to take it all the way out?
The bolt? Yeah. Don't lose that little copper washer that goes on it. So it keeps the oil from coming out of there. Now, you need a small flat blade screwdriver. Right here. That one should do. Put that inside the end of the cam chain tensioner, and you'll feel that there's a, that's too big, isn't it?
Yep. This one maybe?
Yeah, that one maybe. That goes in there, and you'll feel there's like a slotted screw inside of there. You can't see it. So now you want to turn it towards you clockwise. Keep turning, and it'll get tight, and then just give it a little bit of juice, and it'll lock in place. There you go.
Nice.
Okay.
Now all these.
Yep. So now when you take these off, you want to don't just go around in a circle. You kind of want to go back and forth. That way it evenly relieves pressure on it. Because there will be pressure on it, because at some point in the cam's rotation, it's got pressure from the valve. All right, people are bored again. You're doing a great job. You won't mind if I have my breakfast while you're working, do you?
No, that's fine. I think we're good.
Now wait a minute. How do you know which bolts go where if you take all those out of there?
I was gonna leave them in these.
Oh, you're gonna leave them in there.
And then just lift this up.
It's a great idea, actually. You're just gonna leave them on the workbench? The dirty workbench? Should probably get like a box or a bag. Here, look. I have a box.
And I gotta figure out how to open this thing.
But let me tell you something. These bolts are all the same length, so it doesn't matter.
I don't know how to open this.
You don't know how to open a box?
I got it. Just kidding.
Future leaders of the world can't open a cardboard box. Did you just take the last paper towel? What do you think, those grow on trees?
Now what?
Well, if you wiggle these things... Ooh, did you hear that?
Yeah.
That was my shoulder. I should have used my burrito hand. There you go, wiggle these off. And when they come out, they've got dowel pins on them. Ooh,
On one side.
see the dowel pins? Make sure that you don't lose those. And then also there's a little groove right here below my burrito. That has this little ring that sits in that groove, and it locks into the camshaft bearing. What that does is it sets the camshaft in place so that it doesn't move laterally inside the engine. This one should be the same way. Grab that little ring. We got 2 dowel pins. We're good.
Are these the same?
No scoring on the bearing surfaces. Yeah, they're the same.
Yeah.
Actually, they might not be. I don't remember. They look like the same. If it doesn't fit, then it goes on the other side. Okay. Can't eat my burrito with that hand now. You just take the spark plug out before we get the cylinder head off. So it's easier to hold the engine than it is the cylinder head. Alright, so now you can pull the cams out. So I would just grab the intake cam, lift it up out of the top of the head. And as you do that, you're going to have to roll it forward a little bit to where you get enough slack to get this cam chain off of the sprocket. And then just slide it out. the chain. There you go. Roll it forward. There you go. Now, that's the intake cam because it has 3 lobes on it. Same thing. Pull the exhaust cam off.
A little sticky.
There you go.
Doesn't matter if this falls in there.
No, let the chain
Oh, it's
fall.
slippery.
We're gonna have the cylinder off anyway. We'll fish it out with a magnet. All right. There you go. If you've never seen top end of a Yamaha, they're 5 valves. This guy right here, that's the bad one. We'll probably end up doing all of them though. All right, let's get the oil line off. And then we're ready to unbolt the cylinder head.
Just this one? Or I don't have to take all of them?
No, I would take the whole line off because otherwise it's going to sit here. It's going to be in the way. So all these, now these are what they call them, banjo bolts. So they're hollow bolts. And they've got a copper crush washer on each side of the line. So make sure that we don't lose those.
Really need like a we need like a motor holder.
That was a good ass burrito.
Still got one more too.
I do.
Should be it.
As you can see, I still haven't got to my special project I've been hinting about. Life just keeps getting in the way. One of these days I'll get to work on what I want to work on. Anywho. Pull these buckets. If you're not familiar with this, this is shim under bucket. It's really quite the pain to adjust the valve lash on these. But it's fewer moving parts in the valve train, which lets these motors rev super high. So see in the top of the valve spring, the spring retainer actually, there's a little recessed pocket right there. And in the end of this bucket, stuck to it, is a shim. Shims come in different sizes, and basically it raises and lowers the height of the bucket on top of the valve, and that will determine what your valve lash is. So I'm going to get all these out. Doesn't really matter which one goes where right now. Well, I will put them back in the same hole that they came from, but as far as the shims, we're going to put new valves in it, so it doesn't really matter what shim came from where. Did you just say, what do I do now?
Yeah. Do I say?
You got 7 more bolts. You got 2 here, 2 here. These 2 little guys right here that go up from through the cylinder into the head, and then you got that one little one right there. Do the little ones first, because they don't have as much pressure on them. If you relieve the pressure on the 4 main head bolts,
Then those are gonna be
then you got 3 fasteners on this side, and the whole thing's going to try and rock to that side and put a lot of stress on it. We don't want to do that. So,
Is that a 10?
no, these are, oh yeah, they are 10 millimeter. You're not going to be able to get a socket on there though. Grab a
One of those
grab a little wrench with the little wobbly socket on the end of it. Yep, and the other one, there's an 8. There you go.
This one.
Yeah, it's upside down. You got to think about it, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, was that your elbow?
No, that was the bolt.
Was it mine? What are you doing?
I don't know. Hold on.
Push away from you.
I was, and it didn't seem like it was loosening.
Do you want me to break it? I'll break it.
Yeah, you break
I can tell the look on your face that you don't want to break it. I think you were right. It comes towards you. There we go. This one goes away from you. Where are you keeping these bolts?
Yeet.
Alright, what about that bolt? And that bolt?
This one. You can put back
Grab
in
one of
there.
these bags.
Why don't we put this one back in there?
Sure. Put it back where it came from? That's a good idea. We need to go ahead and take the tensioner off too. That one.
There you go.
Really? Alright. Let's get the tensioner out of the way. Now all I got left is the 4 head bolts.
Does it matter which we're already using? Like, do I need to do this one and this one?
Yep, just do a crisscross pattern. A little bit at a time. You're gonna want to wait until I can hold that thing for you?
Yeah.
Because, yeah. There's your tensioner, throw that in the bag. Gasket is scooped. Okay. Ready?
Oh my. Hold up.
By the way, this is like a razor edge right here, so be mindful of where your hands are when it finally does break loose. You don't want to lose any fingers, I don't think. All right. That's good, stop. Now go to the other one. Like I said, we want to do a little bit at a time.
Now this one?
Sure. Ooh. Yeah. All right. What the?
It's not loosened all the way. There we go.
Weren't you wearing that shirt yesterday?
Yep.
Gross.
Alright.
Nice work. Nice. Still got one more. Those are one-time use. You know that, right?
What, head bolts?
Yeah.
No way.
Yup. According to Yamaha and every other engine manufacturer, they don't want you reusing bolts. Like a surgeon. Look at that.
I'm trying not to lose this thing.
Try not to touch the sides. This is an operation. Now what? Can I hit it with a hammer?
Sure.
All right. Go.
Oh, you're leaking.
You're leaking. There she is. Oh yeah, we're dripping oil everywhere. Oh, you know what? Put the spark plug back in it, and we'll get some acetone, and we'll puddle it up in here, and we'll see how many of the valves are actually leaking. Oh yeah, dowel pins. Here.
Where did you go?
Put those in a bag.
Just try with this one. All these.
Oh, it's so cute. That's not gonna fit in that bag. You lost the spark plug?
No, it's right here.
You had one job.
There you go.
Was to not lose the spark plug. Let's get the cylinder off, huh?
Okay, we're gonna wait.
Actually, it does. You must clean your air filter a lot and change your oil a lot. Where'd you learn to do that?
You. And from Chance blowing up his bike not doing that?
Who's this Chance you speak of?
I don't know.
Is that
Some
friend
guy
of
with
yours
earrings?
that he just got his ears pierced? Looks like a girl now.
Yeah.
That guy.
That guy.
Piston doesn't look bad either. At all. Take the rings off. Check the end gap. We may just run it. Throw some valves in it.
There we go.
Is it tight or just hand tight?
Hand tight.
Make it snug.
That's nice.
I don't know. Measure that and see where it's at. It'll be hard to get it in the hole straight without piston to push it down in there. Here, look at this. Push this down. I'm just going to use that as a gauge. Run it down all the way. That is not working. There, look pretty darn close. Yeah, it's pretty tight. We'll measure it. Grab that bottle of acetone right there. Acetone's thinner than water. Filling up the combustion chamber. I won't be able to fill it up all the way. That's pretty good. We'll let that sit, and then we'll take a look inside the intake and exhaust sides of the head and probably see some leakage. We'll come back to that. So on the top ring, it looks like we've got 9 thousandths end gap. So we ran the ring down in the cylinder, squared it up in there, and we're just measuring the gap in the end of the ring. There is a spec on this, which we'll have to look up. I don't know what it is. This one's right at 9 thousandths, so we'll look that up and we'll decide whether or not it gets a piston and rings. How about the rod bearing? These are tricky. We want to see if there's any up and down movement, which there's not. This thing is tight. Laterally, you're having the piston slide back and forth, but you want to grab just the rod and see how much side to side it has.
That's good.
And this is actually the entire crankshaft sliding back and forth, so that's going to be tough. You can rock it, but the best way to do it is to stick a pillow gauge in the side of the connecting rod and see what the clearance is. There's also a spec for that, so we'll look that up, but I think she's fine. We just need some valves. I don't even see really any scoring on the piston. Cool. Alright, so back to our little acetone test. I looked inside the exhaust port and that seems to be dry. There is a little bit on the intake side. It's starting to get a little bit wet in there. Let's see. Whoa. Yeah, it's actually sealed up pretty good. but I know that the valve is super thin. It's ready to give up. And when the head of the valve breaks off, it likes to lodge itself in the piston and ruin the piston, ruin the head, and a lot of times the cylinder too. So we're gonna get the valves out.
We just turned it off.
You just turned it on. You said record. Stop recording. Okay, I don't have a valve spring compressor. I just took a shot at this first one and it actually worked. The old trick is to get a socket and a hammer, beat on the top of it, and it launches the freaking keepers. Ooh, that worked. Check that out. Popped them right out of there. Here you go, sir. Don't lose those. Valve spring. Let's do another one. Here, hold that. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Oh, I only got one. Hit it again. It's fine. What's that? How did we not lose those? That was amazing. All right, let me put them in the bag here. Ooh. You're on camera, by the way.
I know. But he's not even getting the thing, he's getting the bench.
Yeah, what are you filming it right now? Exactly.
Nothing.
Oh, there we go.
All right. Oh, yeah. Here. Need some contrast. Look at that thing. It's not supposed to be a step valve. That was the center valve that went tight. That's not looking too hot either. That's one of the side ones. Yeah, they're all pretty much scooped. New intakes. Hey, it's recording. Exhaust side. Ooh, big springs. Wow, this is gonna hurt. Got one.
Hit it again.
Just not having it. There it goes.
It caught it for us.
It's right here.
Alright.
Alright, looks like you might be getting off on the cheap. We're just going to do intake and exhaust valves. All of them. They've all got significant wear on them. So the other thing you want to do too while you get these out is check your valve stem clearance. Make sure they're still tight. Just run those back in there. My calibrated fingers say that that's still good. Yeah. Alright, so we'll order up some parts. We'll put this back together. Well, that's it for the teardown. Stay tuned for reassembly. Thanks for watching.